blank were written to Brandon Thomas, Hook, Pine and Tinker, Pollock Products, or you personally, totaling almost 7,000, 6,994. And these don't require responses. Maybe you can look into these sometime.
Could you provide those questions in
I'll
writing,
provide
please?
you
That'll help with the research, make sure we get you accurate
In
answers.
2024, 29% of the blanks were written to Brandon Thomas, Hook, Pine and Tinker, or Pollock Products in the amount of $33,476. And then looking at deposits, in 21, 50% of the deposits didn't even list what they were from. 22, 20% didn't. 86% didn't in 24. Based on this spreadsheet, of course, there could be some real clerical errors in this. I don't know. Now, something you can't answer. How much are volunteers reimbursed per run?
Volunteers are reimbursed $5 per run. That's the same amount it's been for 23 years that I've been on the department. It's been at $5 a run.
Okay.
So and it was that number before I joined. So I would like to address your spreadsheet before we move on, though.
Yeah.
That is a compilation, and that was not my spreadsheet. That was something that Shelley had put together. So there very well may be more information in the official record. Just some stuff that she didn't pick up from the copy she was pulling from or whatever. I don't know that for certain without double checking, but that was a compilation, not the official record.
This kind of confirms what you told me, because there were no reimbursements for runs in 2021 and 22. But then they started in 23.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably something that didn't get put on
about
the compilation.
$5,500 for each year in run costs.
Yep, that's about right.
How many runs do you make?
We've been running over 150 runs a year for the last probably 5 years or 6 years.
And I'm assuming you can't go on every run, but you try.
Yeah, if you're available, you're expected to respond, and with the increased number of runs, and especially with more medicals, we have modified that a little bit where, like medicals, a lot of times those don't require a full crew. So
Right.
we've reduced the number of people that respond to some of those calls that don't present the severity off the initial dispatch to reduce the number of people responding.
The spreadsheet runs pretty true then, because you were paid $790 in 23 for runs, which would be 158 runs.
Mm-hmm.
And then $775 in 23, which would be 155 runs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brandon Thomas run 87 runs in 23, but at $5 a run, he run 287 runs in 24.
So the change in the run reimbursement that occurred, I don't remember off the top of my head what year, but the membership voted one of those years, probably about in that time frame, to start doing the run reimbursement for trainings as well as responses to alarms.
Run reimbursement for what?
For training attendance.
Okay, but the spreadsheet said run reimbursement. That's where my...
Right, I understand the confusion there, but that's the difference there, and that's why there's a difference in between alarms versus the reimbursement rate there.
Okay.
So is that $5 per training, or?
$5 per training or
So if it was
incident.
a 3-day class, that you got $5?
Yeah.
Okay.
With that being said, thank you for your service, obviously, for a long time. Appreciate it.
The more you see our volunteers get reimbursed for runs or training, the more money they've lost out of their pocket they've donated to the community, because for every one of those trainings, the people that are more active in trainings and runs are usually more active in showing up to do things that are not reimbursed as well. So they're showing up to do work on the trucks and other things as well. So
The only real question that brought to my mind was Brandon Thomas did twice as many as you did,
mm-hmm.
being chief.
So based on my availability due to my full-time employment and his availability, those things fluctuate, and you can actually look back through the run logs and see who had the higher numbers, lower numbers through the years, and you can kind of track where they were working or what their availability was, and it's,
And you keep run logs
we do.
for quite some time.
In my time being charged with the records, we've maintained those to the best of the ability of the volunteers. Volunteer firefighters are not always the best record keepers, so, you know.
I'm assuming I could have copies of those run logs?
Yes, sir.
Now, skipping the fundraisers, in 21, the records that I have indicate you spent $4,661 on food or supplies for fundraisers. 22, 3270 for food or supplies. 23, 2578 for food or supplies. And 24, 956. That totals $11,476. And the only deposit I find is $576 came back in 24.
You also noted that there were a number of deposits that weren't specified, right?
There were, however, none of those corresponded to the timeframes of your fundraisers.
Okay, and during that time, there were additional fundraisers other than the pancake feed and the chili feed.
Okay.
Right, multiple, especially some of those higher cost years.
But there were basically no designated deposits that would total up to $10,000.
So obviously, there's some gaps in that summary that
Okay.
Shelley had provided to you.
And this $11,000 is only the seed money, not the total. Not, that's your input,
Right,
not the donations.
right.
So
So,
the
and,
seed money and the donations would go back to the fire department
yes,
somewhere.
goes right back to the department account. For those years, that's how that was handled, it went right back in there. So, it's just a matter of, obviously, there were some gaps in that summary that was provided, and I'll note specifically.
I'll give you a copy of this, and I've also got, official letters asking for those things that I'd like to have. The
Okay.
run sheets and the roster of personnel.
Sure.
Okay.
That's great, yeah.
You say there's approximately 27 volunteer firefighters.
Members of the department.
How far away do they come? I mean,
We have people who come quite a distance that are instructors that are associated with the department because have
Knowledge.
a vast depth of knowledge, and they help us do training that is on par with state level training.
And
but
repairs.
do they come when you have a,
No, they come for the purpose for which they're associated with the department. So our bylaws specify that you need to live within a reasonable response distance of the department. So if you are responding for an emergency call, that distance is different than if you're coming to provide training or help with maintenance or repairs on a piece of fire equipment.
how far out do you go for emergency deals?
For emergency deals, my rule of thumb is once we get out to the next adjoining department, it becomes very difficult for me to justify it. Now, there are some who live in adjoining districts. I mean, Horton has fire district half a mile from here. So, obviously, you can live in Horton's fire district and there might be a reason you want to join Powhattan's fire department rather than joining Horton's. We've got some people that live in Hiawatha. There are reasons that they want to join our department rather than Hiawatha. I mean, that surrounding area. But I don't feel that typically there's a justification to come past a neighboring fire department. If you're coming from the same area and there's some reason you don't want to join that fire department, we sort that out and work through that. But we don't have anybody that's responding to emergencies that comes past another department to get here typically. So if there is, there's special circumstances. You know, over the years, we've had a couple of people that lived closer and joined the department here and then moved, you know, maybe a handful of miles past another department. Well, I'm not gonna turn away their help just because, you know, we make it clear that obviously when you move further away, then you're not gonna be first on scene on an emergency and it impacts your availability, but, you know, if they're not interested in changing their membership to the department that's closer to them and they're still willing to help us, I'm not gonna turn down the help, especially once they've been on the department for a while, so.
Well, a lot of the question on the fire department runs come from the terminology of run reimbursement.
Right. Yep, I understand the confusion there, and that's part of a volunteer organization is everything doesn't happen the way a single individual wants things to be.
Right.
And that's part of the latitude of working with a cooperative organization is some things you work with the people that you've got and you appreciate the help that they provide, and sometimes you have to sort out the odds and ends. So I appreciate your sincere questions because I know there's been some confusion in the community, and your questions are some of the first real sincere questions that I've received. We've had a few from time to time, but I appreciate your sincerity.
And all
your
of these
straightforward-
answers, Chief,
Mhm.
you can, my email's on this letter, and you can email them, you don't have to
Okay.
print them and give them to me, you can email them, it's perfectly fine.
Now, just for clarity, research doesn't happen overnight, especially volunteer research.
Understand?
You are more than welcome to set up an appointment and come view them. I'm more than happy to put the information together and provide it to you as we have volunteer time to do that. So just as long as you're kind of aware of that.
I'm understanding that it's gonna take you a little bit of time, and I just pulled this thing off the Kansas website, and it says 3 days. But I understand you can't do,
We have 3 days to respond.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And like I say, I'm more than happy to work with you, and you can come expedite the process, and I'm more than happy to expedite as much as we're able to. Just,
sure.
we have real limitations to availability. I mean,
As much as you guys are at the station, I don't know why it would be a problem.
well, there's a reason we're at the station so much some days, or at least I am, because it takes a lot of work to keep especially putting some of the records in a more manageable, more readily accessible format, which I've made a lot of progress on in the last few months. I mean,
I'll get with you right after the
Appreciate it.
meeting, and I'll hand these off.
all right.
So what is
Thanks,
your
Rob.
jurisdiction then?
The
How far out?
contracted response district that we have is 80 square miles in Powhattan Township. It covers the majority of Powhattan Township with the exception of the very southwest corner that Wetmore covers.
So
So,
how far out is that? How many miles you go?
oh, let's see how wide is Powhattan Township. That's 9 miles wide and 8 miles north and south, something like that. I don't. It's got to be. It's got to be.
8 by 10.
It's got to be 10. Yeah.
8 by 10, if it's 80 actually.
Yeah. It's got to. So it's got to be. I'm trying to think what our block numbers are here. Something like that.
Possibly 9 by 9.
Probably 9 miles by 10. I'd have to look at the map and chase it down. I don't think of it that format, but I think it's 80 square miles. And I'm running off the top of my head, but I think that's the number of square miles that we cover. So, and I will say that the majority of that is Powhattan Township's responsibility, and they provide the majority of the funding for the department. That's changed. When I first joined the department, the contracted payment from the township was less than $1,000 a year, and now we're at $13,000 a year. So we've worked really hard to provide a better service for the dollar for the community, and Part of that is the increased coverage area and increased response numbers, which is in conjunction with what the direction we've gotten from the township board. They want us providing services to the taxpayers, and they're been very straightforward about wanting us to respond to calls.
Is any of that money donated to the Powhattan Fire and Rescue Association or given to them? Any of your budget from the city given to
The
them?
only money that goes from the department budget to the Fire and Rescue Association is according to the service agreement we have with them. So whatever that
Do you have
number
a
is,
service agreement with the city of Powhattan or with just the Powhattan Fire Department?
Powhatan Fire Department has a service agreement with Powhatan Fire and Rescue Association.
Okay, and what exactly is that?
I don't have it at my fingertips. That's,
You don't have equipment, you don't have a building, you don't have trucks, you don't have, what does it do, what's its purpose?
they provide office services, grant writing and administration services. Over the last 2 years, and again, this is running completely off the top of my head, but I think over the last 2 years, they've assisted us with over, I think it's over $50,000 worth of grants or donations that they've facilitated and assisted the department with over the last couple of years.
And so what kind of equipment and stuff have you guys purchased with that?
We've refurbished AEDs, we've gotten new turnout gear, the bunker coats and pants. The rescue truck is something that they were instrumental in getting for us. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what else we've run through that. Radios,
That came from the county though.
no, not all of them. I mean, they're yes, the 800 radios the county got us are new acquisitions, but not all the radios that we've acquired in that time frame have been through that, because we still operate on the VHF system. So the radios that came from the county are the 800 radio system for interoperability, but we've still had to maintain the VHF system.
Those are all getting ready to be encrypted, right? The 800s?
The 800s, I'm not sure what the county's plan with that system is. They haven't.
Yeah, I'm trying to get radios for the rescue squad and that's the same situation.
Yeah, there's
They're
a
ready to be encrypted, so we're not gonna spend $5,000 per radio to buy them.
there's a lot of in and out stuff on the 800 radio system there.
So the grant money that Powhatan Fire and Rescue comes up with for the Powhatan Fire Department, that's deposited in the fire department's accounts and then
Usually,
checks written
a
on.
lot of times those are reimbursement, which those come directly to the fire department, so those will show up as a deposit. They won't show up as a deposit from Powhatan Fire and Rescue because they're a deposit from, say, the Kansas Fire and Rescue, or not, Kansas State Firefighters Association is doing, we just did a bunker gear grant that they're administering. Some through, say, the State Fire Marshal's office, and some of those don't show up as a cash number. Like the State Fire Marshal's office, some of the gear we got from them, that was just a 100% grant. They paid the invoice. So we get the benefit, the dollars benefit directly to the department in gear, but you never see the dollars in the bank account. There's no financial transaction on our end.
So you say the grant was actually through the Fire and Rescue Association?
The Fire and Rescue Association has been assisting with writing and administering those grants.
I said the grant you just mentioned.
Not,
Is that
no, I
through
said,
the Fire and Rescue Association?
no, not that one. What I was talking about was the State Firefighters Association. They have a recruitment and retention grant that we just completed one cycle of.
Luke,
Oh.
while we're on the finances, you gave us a copy of the bank statements for
Mhm.
20 through 24 and 25. Couple of them bothered me a little bit. First 3 or 4 years, we've had check numbers and amounts on the statements, but no canceled checks, no what they were for, who they went to. The last year you did, 24. And On 1/22/24, check number 12/24, which is the Hook Pine and Tinker for $1,284.60 for a natural gas heater. Where would that have been used at?
That was a replacement for the overhead heaters in the fire department.
Oh, you got natural gas?
It's probably a natural gas / propane, because they come set up as both.
Well, that's not what it says, but anyway.
Well,
I go.
Alright, and then another one bothered me, 5/26/24, check 1255, Brandon Thomas, $1,140, and the memo said pancake feed.
I'd have to double check that one, but that's usually supplies. So, a lot of what Brandon has done for us on the financial end, just like the heaters, and sometimes the supplies for the pancake feed, the fire department doesn't have a credit card. The fire department doesn't have a Sam's Club membership. So, we can spend more money getting supplies, or we can have someone purchase those and get reimbursed. So, if someone's going to purchase those, that means they took their personal money, spent it on the purchase, and then waited until they got reimbursed. So we got interest-free use of that money through their generosity to let us benefit from that, and we got the lower cost of those purchases rather than buying them locally. I know that the overhead heaters that we replaced, those would have been significantly more expensive if we'd bought them at a local business. I think those came, off the top of my head, I think they were a Home Depot sourced heater, if I remember correctly. But it was a significant cost savings versus buying it locally where we had a charge account. And that's one of the things that's part of the reason that you see a frequency with Hooks, Pine, and Tinker, is because he's able to use his business to acquire at cost. Usually, he's usually as close to his actual cost. Sometimes there's some shipping or handling that comes in, or fuel if he has to go physically transport it. As you guys are familiar with, when you had to go get supplies, sometimes from a further distance, sometimes there is fuel expense with that. But that's, when you see that, that's because there's a significant cost associated with it for the cost savings associated with it for the fire department. And as we have time, I'm more than happy to sort back through and chase the invoices down, because David Barnes has been our treasurer for a lot of these years, and I don't know exactly what years he was in some of the questions years, but I think several of those he was the treasurer. And David is a very scrupulous person with his morals and his integrity. He's an old farmer. He puts the receipts in the shoebox. They're there. He doesn't stick them in a fancy file folder that you can pull them out at a moment's notice. So we can go dig back through the stack and the receipts will be there.
As far as bank statements and stuff like that, all you gotta do is get on the computer and click on the button and it'll print them right off or send them to your email. That's all you gotta do.
Do you see David Barnes getting on the computer
No,
and
I'm
printing
talking
off?
about you, since you're the chief and one in charge. I mean, I guess, to learn from something would be to being sure you got transparency with this. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know that I heard that's. You gotta have a paper trail for that stuff. I mean,
Well-
just going to Hook, Pine, and Tinker to buy a heater for the shop, I mean, don't you want people to support your local businesses? Your soap and whatever you sell and your meat and all that? You want
Sure.
people to support that, right?
Sure.
So why would you not charge it to like Fall City Mercantile? They'll give you a discount because you're a fire department.
We do where we can.
So why don't you do that? Why don't you go to the local grocery store and buy eggs or get them donated? We get stuff donated.
We do.
These
As
are good
much as
things
we
to
can.
bring up at a fire meeting.
Yes.
I'm just saying, seems like this just went from city to fire, and the fire meetings are really open to everybody who can come in and ask questions. This just seems like it's really going on.
We can talk. We have permission to talk.
I know that's, are we gonna get to,
I don't mind you asking the questions.
Yeah,
I appreciate
totally
you
not.
asking. These are good, solid, sincere questions. I'm happy to answer them. I would, in the interest of some people that don't want to be here all night, I would ask you, let's go ahead and if you want to spend the time, come down and let's pull up specific answers for you. I'm more than happy to
I
do
would
that.
do that, but I'm not sure if that's possible, because the last time I came down here, I had my picture taken multiple times, I had scaredy cats coming out of a building, I had people running around the building, taking my picture.
You
I
mean
just don't understand what was going on. Trying to
Was
figure out why
very
people were at the station.
intimidating.
Corey, was that the day, was that you
Yes.
sitting across the street for
Sure was.
more than 2 hours?
And why did you park up there and start following me the minute I walked out of the building? That was very scary. I was very intimidated.
Really?
And as a little old lady, yes.
Just for you to stop and videotape me? That was
I took
intimidating?
one picture to return
Before you
it.
ran around the building to hide from me?
I was, yes, I was hiding from you because I am not going to put myself up against somebody your size.
You didn't even know it was me. How'd you know what my size was?
Because it was the same.
How did you know it was me?
It was a big black truck, and I don't like big black trucks following me around the city.
Oh, you're killing me.
Oh, you're
So,
Regardless.
I guess
You
what
either
I'm
lock the
saying,
back-
Corey, is you sat there for 2 hours. You didn't take the time to walk across the street and ask
The
questions.
door was locked. It's a
Did you-
public building.
Did you
Did
not?
you not?
I watched Cappleman come up. He couldn't even get in the building. You guys had it locked. He come out the door 14 times taking my picture.
All you gotta do is come knock on the door.
I'm
If
sure
you
would've let me
act
in there.
suspicious, you get treated suspicious. Can we move on to the city business?
Yes.
This is
Thank
city
you.
business.
This is city
What do you call it? This is city business. We've got questions. We're citizens of the county. We're citizens of the community.
I guess, Corey, you'll never know because you didn't ask, so you'll never know if we
I
let
have
you in or not.
asked.
To come in? Look at records? No, see, you haven't asked to come in
But
and
you
look
were
at
on
records.
official business, though.
Are you guys doing swearing in tonight sometime before midnight?
You could've come in.
Or are you gonna do that at all today?
That'll actually be on the 12th because the county does
So
it.
it's not
on
happening
the-
today?
It's on the
No, doesn't
second.
happen
You
until
guys
the
have a
12th.
wonderful night.
Second Monday of the month, later statute.
James.
You can keep on the calls.
You'd think the mayor would know that.
She said the second Monday.
This is my first time being married, Jack.
Tonight,
on, Dave.
Grow up, man.
Yeah.
We're trying to stir trouble.
Really?
Might do it tonight.
County says they can't, well, I mean, I can put them in, but they can't do anything until after the 12th.
They can be sworn in tonight, they just can't do any business until after
You can do that.
I'd be fine with it as long as we're getting to city business and not taking till midnight.
Yeah, me too, my bike's got a
I
limited
mean,
time frame.
You guys
I
really
get up
care,
at
you
work
guys
tomorrow.
really care about your community, don't you? Can't even say and answer questions. That's awesome.
We'll see what kind of meeting he runs.
Well, for God's sake, let's just get on with
Okay,
it.
I do
Oh,
have
for
one-
God's sake, why don't you be quiet? Why don't you say a prayer?
I have one other thing for, new business. I have, Gordon Olson sent us a bill for $1,505, but he's only charging $1,000 and he waived the rest of the $505. And that started in March 7th through
How can you ask him a question? Must leave his
December
door
9th.
open at home too. Probably does the shit.
I just need a motion to pay that.
What did he do?
But
What did he do?
there's an outline of the things with the questions we've asked him, the lawyer.
You gave me a copy of that?
I just don't send it. Or I can have it.
Yeah, I entertain a motion to pay the lawyer his fee.
I make a motion to pay the lawyer $1,000 of his $1,505.
All in favor? Aye, okay. Carry forward. Forward.
I got that.
Okay.
Here's the envelope, so.
And we,
Do you have the oath so they can read it?
I have a question. Do you have the classes scheduled from the Attorney General's The classes that you were required to attend?
And we don't have it
We
required
don't-
now.
You don't have to require it now.
Did they send another email, Shelley?
Did you request that you did not have to attend them? How did it, the requirement get lost?
They haven't said any more about coming, so we haven't talked to them yet.
We have till February something. I think.
So you just haven't scheduled them.
They haven't scheduled. They have to schedule it.
Who's they?
League of Municipalities?
Mm-hmm. It's the lady that's coming here to do them. So she's gotta schedule it with everybody.
So the Attorney General says that the league has to set the
The
time.
lady that's coming to do the meeting is the one that needs to schedule it due to her scheduling.
Okay. I
And then
understand
she'll
what you're
see what
saying.
everybody else's schedule is to see. Alright. Oh my gosh. Tracy, you have not signed this. They have already signed it on December the 15th. And obviously you weren't on the meeting.
He's not leaving.
What?
He's not leaving.
He still has to sign it. Is it,
A new one?
yeah, because he ran for council, he has to sign another one.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, here's. And you pass. That one's Luke's and that one's yours. Did you have, thank you.
Yeah, there's ones in there on my desk. There's a little four thing, and it's a silver thing, so, there's four. Alexa, light on. Oh. That's cool. Well, I get tired of tripping over everything to get to the door. If I should have light on it. It should be in one of those protective seal things.
Still on?
And you can just leave the rest on my desk, I'll get them later. Alexa, light off.
Does she only listen to you?
Listen to anybody.
Alright, you guys wanna sign it and then I'll read it together? State your name.
Alexa, light it off.
I, Tracy Sharp. So
So
y'all
she
will
listens
start
to
reading
you.
it. Yeah, just all read it together at one time, but just put your name in as we go.
I can't read and write at the same time. I mean, I'm trying to fill out the homework.
Alright, raise your hand and say your oath.
I, Tracy Sharp,
Do solemnly swear that I will support
the
the Constitution
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas, faithfully discharge the duties of council member of Powhattan,
Kansas,
so help me God.
And then you'll have to put,
This meeting, the mayor's not sworn in?
James put it in.
He'll be sworn in next meeting.
What goes on this line?
The second one, that would be your signature.
Do you fill out the subscribe and form below on this date, like? So all I had to do was sign it.
Sign it and then finish filling out the bottom part. Did you fill out the bottom part?
Well,
We fill out the bottom part.
you fill out the bottom part.
Okay.
That's what I just asked you.
Just pass it down.
Whoever gets this chair, I don't know which one you want.
motion to adjourn.
They can't take over till.
They can't take over
Well,
until it's
well,
twelve.
can't.
Can't do no business?
Yeah, I can't do anything until it's 12.
No mayor to take over.
February 12th.
Well, yeah, as long as you're not here, have them there.
Yeah.
Unless he comes in for a
He'll come in.
Okay, no further business, entertain a motion to adjourn,
Motion.
all in favor?